Very well done, Data. Your performance skills really are improving.
If you search Captain Picard's name on YouTube, you'll find a compilation of his greatest speeches. Casual fans and die-hard Trekkies alike love listening to Sir Patrick Stewart imparting wisdom, giving life lessons, and stating worldviews. He could probably read the contents of an IKEA instruction book and people would still enjoy it. He is a beacon of authority and righteousness while also coming across as a warm father figure, stern but always fair, deeply principled and highly courageous. Patrick Stewart was obviously assisted by strong writing, but it's impossible to imagine anyone else in this role. So let's ask ourselves why? Why is this performance so great? What acting techniques did Patrick Stewart use to make Captain Picard such an unforgettable presence and a cultural icon?
I'm a role model.
I'm sure you are.
There are many schools of thought when it comes to acting, classical, method, and Brechtian just to name a few, but we can start to scratch the surface of Patrick Stewart's brilliant technique by remembering a simple piece of age-old acting wisdom. Acting is reacting. When we hear a character speak, it shouldn't sound like a rehearsed set of words. The words should sound like they're coming to the character in the moment. Their brain takes in the stimuli of a situation or conversation, forms thoughts in response, and expresses those thoughts as words. What they do and say should have an immediacy which conveys authenticity. This idea is foundational to every school of acting technique. Patrick Stewart cut his teeth in the Royal Shakespeare Company, where learning one's lines is crucially important. However, Stewart's stated technique is a middle ground between classical and method. He advises younger actors to immerse themselves in their characters, and consider their thoughts and feelings more than the words they say. If we could distill Captain Picard's presence down to a single word, it would be control. Picard feels like a natural commander, measured, assured, and always giving orders with precise clarity and unshakable confidence. That's because Patrick Stewart, as Picard, always thinks before he speaks. Let's compare Stewart's Picard to William Shatner's Kirk. Shatner's famous, unique speaking rhythm comes from the aforementioned immediacy. Kirk speaks as if he's making up each sentence as he's saying it, holding on certain words and elongating the sounds until the rest of the sentence becomes clear to him. In other words, Kirk's mouth is often too fast for his mind. He gets ahead of himself, not quite sure what exactly he's going to say next, so he slows down to allow his mind to catch up.
I was not aware, Mr. Barris, that 12 Klingons constitutes a swarm.
However, Captain Picard rarely does this. He still begins sentences without knowing exactly where they're going to end, but his pauses are deliberate. Whereas Kirk forms words in his mind as he's speaking them, Picard forms the words and then speaks them.
I respect an officer who is prepared to admit ignorance and ask a question, rather than one who out of pride will blunder blindly forward.
I understand.
Shut up, Wesley!
This is what gives Picard his sense of authority. He's always the one dictating the pace of conversations. As he pauses to consider his next words, everyone else waits for him to finish speaking. He also doesn't give orders without carefully considering the information presented to him. Watch him in any briefing scene and you can see Picard listening to each of his crew members. His subtle eye and head movements show clearly how he's taking everything in, forming a thought, and then confidently stating what they should do next. Picard's sense of control also extends to his body language. He's relaxed in the captain's chair but always sitting up straight. When he walks, he usually has his arms bolted to his sides. When he's speaking to someone, he always maintains eye contact, only looking away when he's thinking about what they're saying. When he does gesture, the movements are often slow, deliberate, and precise. Let's contrast this with Shatner once again, who constantly talks with his hands.
Oh, then you do admit to the charge.
Yes! Anything!
All right, Doctor, you built this thing. How do you propose to turn it off?
But I must point out that the possibilities, the potential.
Whereas Picard gestures with purpose to emphasize a point. Picard's unwavering sense of control is what makes those rare moments of emotional anguish so powerful. Take the episode Family, for example. Throughout the episode, Picard's body language is noticeably more relaxed. In one scene, he does a very Kirk thing of absent-mindedly playing with a stone while talking to an old friend. In the pivotal scene of the episode where his brother confronts him, at first he tries to walk away, reverting to the robotic body language of the Enterprise, arms bolted firmly to his sides. But as Robert's words start to sting, Picard about-faces and nails him with a glare. Instead of each word coming out of his mouth with careful forethought, Stewart trembles while repeating several words at a sharp clip, showing us the anger building inside the character. During his breakdown, Picard loses all of his usual composure. His words tumble out of his mouth, sounding either breathy and unstable or pinched and strained. His body position is unbalanced and awkward, and he gestures feebly out of frustration, the polar opposite to the stalwart Starfleet officer we've come to know. Now let's put everything together and see one of Patrick Stewart's masterclass performances as Picard in the climactic scene of The Measure of a Man. At the start of his defense, Stewart's line delivery is almost lackadaisical.
Commander Riker has dramatically demonstrated to this court that Lieutenant Commander Data is a machine. Do we deny that? No, because it is not relevant.
This is because he's simply going over some basic facts, which summarize Riker's previous argument. It isn't until Picard calls Maddox to the stand that Stewart starts to really flex his muscles. We see Picard's trademark control of his words. He knows the argument he needs to make, but he has to bolster it the right way. When Maddox gives his 3 criteria for sentience, Stewart shows us Picard thinking them over in his little glances to the side, subtle nods, and offhanded,
So I'm sentient, but Commander Data is not.
That's right.
Why?
Note this little gesture he does on the word why, an open gesture to invite Maddox's response, but also casual enough to convey a hint of dismissal. Picard sees Maddox's position as narrow-minded. He's only asking Maddox to explain so he can shoot him down. Too subtle? How about something even more minute?
My rights.
Did you catch it?
My rights.
This little clasp of the hands Stewart does here is brilliant. Picard wants to prove Data is self-aware, and Data said exactly the words he needed to demonstrate it. This little clasp is like Picard saying, yes, perfect, exactly what I needed. While humouring Maddox, Stewart also shows his unsung talent for nailing the Karen smile. You know what I mean, that expression where someone is smiling with their mouth but their eyes are beaming with utter contempt.
I believe this is yours.
Oh, fuck off!
Watch how he deploys it here when mocking Maddox.
It is an extraordinary piece of engineering and programming. Yes, you have said that.
As he starts to drill Maddox, Stewart chooses to put more emotion into his words. It's worth noting that despite Stewart's naturally bassy voice, he rarely raises his voice or even shouts. Part of his self-assured control is how he keeps his delivery relaxed but steady. However, in this showdown with Maddox, Stewart raises his voice, shouts, and switches to hard attack with certain words.
You see, he's met 2 of your 3 criteria for sentience, so what if he meets the 3rd? Consciousness, in even the smallest degree. What is he then? I don't know. Do you? Do you?
Check out the delivery of these lines and how he emphasizes the words burn away, irrelevancies, and truth for all time.
Your Honor, a courtroom is a crucible. In it we burn away irrelevancies until we are left with a pure product, the truth, for all time.
For his closing statement, Stewart uses his entire toolkit, pausing to phrase his ideas properly.
Now, sooner or later, this man, or others like him, will succeed in replicating Commander Data. It could significantly redefine the boundaries of personal liberty and freedom, expanding them for some, savagely curtailing them for others.
His precise body language, looking directly at the advocate when talking about judgments and glancing back at Data when talking about his rights. And to drive his point home, Stewart combines deliberate gesturing with hard attack on the words "there it sits."
Your Honor, Starfleet was founded to seek out new life. Well, there it sits. Waiting.
After such a well-crafted and eloquently delivered speech, how could anyone disagree?
You wanted a chance to make law. Well, here it is. Make it a good one.
Patrick Stewart's performance as Captain Jean-Luc Picard is an acting masterclass, worthy of the highest praise from viewers and critics, and careful study from any aspiring actor. He displays a complete mastery of line delivery, diction, and body language. creating not a character in a TV show, but a fully realised person full of intelligence, strong morals, and deep-rooted passion, yet always kept in check with precise control and unshakable confidence. What's even more remarkable is how effortless Stewart makes it all look. But in truth, this performance is the result of an actor working damn hard at the height of his craft. Let us make sure history never forgets the names of Sir Patrick Stewart and Jean-Luc Picard.
Acting.
Good night.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on future uploads. On my Patreon, you can see videos early and ad-free. The link is in the description. Thank you to all of my patrons and members, with an ultra thanks to Eamon Kelly, Michael Hardy, County Ark, Mike Halsey, Olivia Computer, Bano, Jaron Walker, Tom, Director Kate, Patrick Fleming, Matthew Camille, Lilac Yane, Edmark Star, Extreme Streamers, Howard Craig Kervik, and AS Caging 101. Thank you once again for watching, and until next time, have a good one.